Oh, something just touched my back! Holy shit, something just touched my back!
I'm going over there. I don't know if the stream is working or not yet, but...
I don't know if someone's wild camping and pumping up something, because that's what I can hear. It sounds like that. Either that or it's extremely loud, heavy panting.
Spending the night outdoors should be simple. Just you, a fire, and the sound of nature. But the woods have a way of turning familiar into frightening. When the sun goes down, every shadow feels alive, every branch snap becomes suspicious, and sometimes people capture things on camera they wish they hadn't. Today we're diving into 6 camping encounters so disturbing they'll make you think twice before ever unzipping a tent again. For most people, buying land in the Arizona desert is about freedom, wide open skies, self-reliance, and the thrill of starting fresh. That's exactly what Coyne and Victoria, the couple behind the channel Wiggins Wild World, were after. They just closed on a 20-acre parcel and were documenting their very first walkthrough. The plan was lighthearted: mark property boundaries, admire the rugged terrain, and daydream about where to build their off-grid home. At first, that's exactly what happened. Their laughter carried through the video as they stumbled over stones, pointed out cactus patches, and joked about how much work they had ahead of them. But then, Coyne noticed something odd in the dirt. 2 Mexican peso coins dated from the 90s. Strange, but easy to shrug off. Maybe they'd washed in from the desert's flood channels. They pocketed the coins and moved on. That's when the discoveries began to pile up. First, a small child's backpack, sun-bleached, frayed, and half buried beneath the sand. At a glance, it looked ordinary, but the closer Victoria looked, the more disturbing it seemed. The front pocket was shredded, not torn by time, but ripped open in a way that suggested force.
I mean, there's a backpack, a shoe, and some monies.
Yeah, I really hope we don't find some person or persons that...
We're trying to make their grand escape.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, that's the news about that.
A few steps away lay a tiny shoe, clearly a child's, its color faded and fabric stiff from exposure. Then came the discovery that stopped them cold: a bone, long, smooth, curved, small enough to belong to a child, but unmistakably out of place. At first, they tried to dismiss it. Could it be an animal bone? A deer? Something left behind by coyotes? But the clean edge suggested it wasn't worn down naturally. It looked cut. Victoria's voice wavered as she admitted, "I really hope this isn't what it looks like."
Doesn't that look like a really clean cut now?
Oh, shit, yeah, it does.
It was the desert, and the reality of the region made the discovery even darker. This stretch of Arizona is notorious for being part of dangerous migrant routes, paths where families cross in hopes of a better life, often carrying little more than what they can hold. Many never make it across, succumbing to dehydration, heat, or worse. Were these items a heartbreaking reminder of that, or something else entirely? Coyne and Victoria debated calling the sheriff right away, but decided to document the scene first. They wanted proof of what they found in case authorities brushed it off. Eventually, they did call the local sheriff's department. A deputy agreed to meet them on the property, but even after reporting it, no answers came quickly. The sheriff didn't confirm what the bones were. No follow-up statement, just lingering silence. In Texas, a fishing trip isn't unusual. Quiet rivers, good weather, and plenty of locals heading out with rods or kayaks. It's the kind of scenery that usually promises a relaxing afternoon. For a creator who streams his outdoor adventures under the name Cycleotial, it was supposed to be exactly that, a simple day on the water. He drifted under bridges and along the banks, his kayak balanced, camera rolling casually as he cast his line. Birds called from the tree line, water lapped at the sides of his boat, and everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. It began with a sound, not the splash of a fish, not the croak of a frog, but something sharp, human, a scream. He froze. The audio on his stream picked it up, faint at first, but then louder, frantic, echoing from beneath the bridge he was gliding toward. It wasn't laughter, not playful shouting. These were panicked cries, desperate and raw. He called out, half expecting a prank. "Hey, are you okay down there?" No answer, just more screaming. Other people nearby noticed too.
gets freaked out. What the hell is that noise? I'm going over there. I don't know if the stream is working or not yet, but I need to hear whatever the hell is happening over there. Hey, do y'all hear that screaming? Is that something I should be like worried about? Whew. I think my day is about to be ruined. Ugh.
A few stood along the bank looking toward the bridge but making no move to investigate. The energy shifted from confusion to dread. The cries were relentless, the kind that cut through the natural quiet and made your stomach drop. The streamer's instinct was to help. He pulled the kayak closer and shouted again, louder this time. "Do you need help? What's going on down there?" But in that exact moment, the screams stopped. Dead silence. The timing couldn't have been worse. It wasn't a gradual fade, it was instant, like someone had clamped a hand over a mouth. The kind of silence that doesn't feel like relief but threat. He sat in his kayak, unsure what to do. Was it a medical emergency? A person in danger? Someone trying to lure him closer? He hesitated only briefly before pulling out his phone and calling emergency services. He reported what he heard, explained his location, and waited for a response. But curiosity got the better of him. After hanging up, he dragged his kayak onto the shore and climbed the embankment himself. If someone was hurt, he didn't want to sit idly by. What he found under the bridge was disturbing in a different way. There were signs of someone staying there, a makeshift shelter of blankets, scattered belongings, items that suggested someone had been living rough beneath the concrete, but no person, no voice. No trace of the one who had screamed. For the streamer, it was supposed to be an ordinary fishing trip. Instead, it became a haunting reminder that sometimes the scariest things you'll encounter outdoors don't come from the wild. They come from people.
Hardest way up.
Whoa! anyone up here? You see anyone? No?
Eleanor Grace was no stranger to being alone outdoors. As a solo traveler and vlogger, she'd made a name for herself quietly exploring remote places across the UK. So when she set her sights on Dartmoor, a rugged stretch of moorland with a reputation for unpredictable weather, she wasn't expecting anything more than an adventurous evening hike and maybe a swim. Her plan was simple: check out a quarry she'd spotted on her trail app. It was supposed to be a hidden gem tucked away behind sheep pastures and boggy paths, the kind of offbeat location her viewers loved. She joked that it felt like something out of Tomb Raider: crumbling stone walls, overgrown trails, and an eerie stillness hanging in the air.
And that is how this happened. We're off. Got my coffee. Where's my mic? Hang on. Okay. Shall I hold this? Shall I put this there? Who knows? Beautiful grey evening in the middle of Dartmoor. I wanted to do an evening hike and I was looking on my All Trails app for somewhere really nice on Dartmoor. I also wanted to check out the area I'm in for the possibility of doing a wild camp on a tour somewhere, because I've never actually done one like properly before in the actual wild. And Dartmoor, yeah, Dartmoor would be very interesting to say the least. Whilst I was checking out my All Trails app, I came across this place. And it's an old mining quarry, which is literally, now I'm not too sure if it's this one or there. Beautiful hike with old buildings and stuff like that. Getting a bit boggy, but worth it. She could have just avoided it, but no, she goes right through it. People have said that it's a very unusual and cool looking place to go for a wild swim. You know me, right? If there's a very weird or cool or beautiful place for me to take a dip, I'm gonna do it. I've brought the stuff with me in my backpack to do that. It is meant to start raining at some point this evening, so to be honest, if it does, even better. Oh, this is a very cute little stream. This is lovely.
Eleanor set down her pack and slipped into the water, expecting it to be bracing. It was cold, yes, but manageable. Frogs scattered as she waded in, and she laughed about the little lizards skittering around the edges. For a moment, it felt magical. Then came the sound. At first, it was faint, easy to mistake for wind against the rocks, but soon it grew louder, rhythmic, deliberate, like air being forced through a pump. Eleanor stopped mid-swim, head tilted toward the cliffs. The sound didn't fade. Instead, it carried across the quarry, echoing down in uneven bursts. Her first thought, maybe someone was camping up there, setting up a tent, inflating gear. Dartmoor, after all, was one of the few places in England where wild camping was legal. That explanation worked for a moment, until the noise shifted.
Oh, you have... You have got to be kidding me. What a hidden gem. Oh, bless him. Right, I'm just going to stand still and let him run. It's quite eerie, actually. Yeah, I don't... Hello? 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 Yeah, I don't think that there is anyone else here, apart from the sheep. Look. I really do want to get in there. I'm gonna go for it. It's worth it. If I get something starts sucking on my leg, As gross as that sounds. How cold are we talking? It's not too bad. Let me get over there. It's a little bit cold. It's not too bad though. There are a lot of tadpoles and everything around me and like little lizardy type things. I haven't seen any leeches yet. We're being joined by sheep. I'm gonna have to move my bags just in case they try and eat it. Oh God. The rocks are quite high and jagged. It's not overly deep. So you've got to be careful where you're putting your legs really, or kicking your legs to swim. Oh, this is so nice though. Loads and loads of like planes and military helicopters and stuff above me. There's a really, really weird noise coming from up there. I don't know if someone's wild camping and pumping up something, because that's what I can hear. It sounds like that. Either that or it's extremely loud, heavy panting. God, I hope it's someone wild camping. Anyway, Dartmoor is like a military training base. They do a lot of training around here basically, so I had to check the times for when they were doing that. There's various areas on Dartmoor where you can wild camp, and this falls under one of the legal areas you can do it. Yeah, it was coming from up there. It is pretty eerie when you're on your own. Oh my God, oh God. I can still stand up.
It wasn't gear, it wasn't mechanical, it was breathing, slow, heavy, guttural, like someone exhaling through their teeth over and over. The kind of breathing you'd expect from someone exhausted, hiding just out of sight. Eleanor laughed nervously at the camera, trying to make light of it, but her eyes kept flicking back to the ridgeline. Hopefully just someone camping, she muttered, though her tone betrayed her. And then it stopped. Dead silence. No wind, no sheep, nothing but the ripple of the water around her. That was enough. Eleanor scrambled out, dressed quickly, and packed her things in record time. But getting out wasn't simple. The trail she'd followed seemed to dissolve into boggy marshland. Mud pulled at her boots, sucking her down to the knees. Reeds blocked her view. Every direction looked the same, and for several long minutes she admitted she was lost. By the time she found her car, dusk was closing in. The relief on her face was clear, but so was the unease. Later, at home, she admitted the quarry hadn't just been strange, it felt wrong. The same oppressive dread she once felt at another abandoned site known for fatal accidents. For the Turkish Channel Ramble's soul, camping was usually a gentle escape. Quiet lakeside scenes, cozy fires, and cinematic shots of the countryside. Their videos felt like meditations on nature, the kind of content people watch to unwind. But one trip turned that calm into absolute chaos, capturing one of their scariest moments on camera. The couple had set up camp by a remote lake they'd visited before. It was the perfect location. Clear skies, still water, and a wide open space where they could try out their brand new inflatable tent. Spirits were high as they cooked, fished, and filmed, enjoying the kind of evening they'd built their channel around. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, the weather changed. A strong wind rolled in, rattling the tent walls and sending waves across the lake. At first, they laughed it off. Spring camping always brought gusts, and it usually passed quickly, but this time the wind didn't let up. It built, stronger, louder, more forceful. They decided to hunker down for the night, confident their gear would hold. The next morning proved them wrong. While cooking breakfast, the couple noticed a sharp smell. Burnt plastic, faint at first, but quickly thickening in the air. Before they could pinpoint it, a sudden burst of flame shot from the side of the tent. Their inverter system, connected to a small power supply, had overheated and sparked. In seconds, the synthetic fabric of the tent caught fire. Panic erupted. The flames spread faster than they expected, racing up the material and collapsing the structure inward. They shouted, scrambling for water, sand, anything to smother the blaze.
오! 오나야?
Ya! Saçmalama! Dur!
Al şunu al. Ne var içeride? Sana yandım. Arabanın anahtarı.
Ya patlar mı onlar?
Patlayacak bir şey yok. Çok yaklaşma. Tüpler patlayabilir. Sana bir su getirsene şeyden.
Şurada.
Ha, olur.
Sevgilim nasıl
Patlamaz ya.
yapacağız?
Patlamaz. Şunu da al. Ver onu bana.
Of ya!
Aa. Ah.
Canım!
Ha?
Nasıl dökeceğiz bunu?
Ver ben dökerim.
Of ya! Aman!
Of ya. Ah. Hoş. Bir tane daha.
Of! Of ya!
Ta bagajın altındaki gözde.
The tent, brand new, barely used, was already being eaten alive by fire. Thankfully, no one had been inside when it started. That small detail may have saved their lives, because when an inflatable tent burns, it doesn't just catch, it implodes. The pressure inside collapsed the walls, pulling the fire inward like a furnace. They grabbed their fire extinguisher, doused the flames, and threw dirt onto the glowing embers. Slowly, the blaze died out, but the aftermath was devastating. Their gear, their shelter, their sense of safety, reduced to a scorched pile of fabric and ash. On camera, their usual cheerful composure was gone. She cried, shaken not just by the loss of equipment, but by the thought of what could have happened. A few minutes slower, and they might have been inside when it started. He tried to comfort her, but even his voice cracked as he surveyed the damage. The video ended not with their usual calm reflections, but with raw gratitude. Gratitude that the fire hadn't spread, gratitude that no one was hurt, and gratitude that sometimes the worst-case scenario doesn't play out. Still, the experience rattled them. That tent was supposed to make camping more comfortable, more secure. Instead, it became a reminder of how quickly things can spiral when you least expect it. Paranormal explorer Lomar Menz, known for his cinematic investigations venturing into dark forests, was part of the job. His channel, Paranormal Discovery, often featured abandoned houses, eerie folklore, and overnight challenges with his partner Chelsea, a practicing medium. But there was one forest he swore he'd never return to, until he did. The place was called Daggerwoods, a stretch of dense forest in Nova Scotia with a chilling legend. Locals whispered about a man from the 1700s who, after taking the life of his wife with a pearl-handled dagger, disappeared into the woods. His body was never found. The story went that he didn't just die. His spirit fused with something far older and far darker that already lingered there. Some called it the Howler. Others, more bluntly, said it was a cryptid that wasn't entirely human. On his first visit, Lomar claimed he was physically attacked, scratched, shoved, and left with a feeling he couldn't shake. Against his better judgment, he returned, this time with a team known as the Outcasts, a group of Quebec explorers curious about the legend. The group pressed deeper, setting up cameras and thermal gear as night fell. That's when things began. Lomar suddenly stopped, shuddering. Something cold had brushed his back. On playback, the audio caught faint whispers in response to his startled reaction. He spun with his flashlight, but nothing was there. His words trembling but sharp. Something touched me. Deliberately.
Whoa, somebody just touched my back! Holy shit, somebody just touched my back! What the f? Whoa. Whoa, did that just say I know you?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Oh shit. Why do I feel like it's that humanoid that's causing this right now?
Very
And deep down I feel like it's doing something.
Let's just get back to base camp. Safety in numbers. Check on Kia.
The key is in the Jeep
Whoa.
though, right?
She's in the
He's
Jeep.
still in the Jeep.
Of course, yeah, she is. But still, that,
And plus the boys are there.
that sounded so freaking close.
Yeah. Now they're gone.
Oh, that.
Wait. Okay, just be slow. Coyotes won't attack.
Oh my, I just heard a clap.
They would have been in this area.
As they pushed on, the atmosphere thickened, the temperature dropped, breath visible in the glow of their headlamps. Then movement, captured briefly on thermal, a tall, pale figure slipping between trees. Too quick to confirm, but enough to make stomachs twist. The whispers returned, louder this time, layered, almost mocking. Chelsea's voice wavered as she said she felt watched, surrounded. One of the outcasts muttered that he saw a humanoid shape, tall, thin, and moving unnaturally. Then came the howls, at first distant like coyotes, but the sound grew stranger with every call. Layered, guttural, wrong. Not one voice, but many stacked on top of each other. The forest erupted in echoes that seemed to circle the group, closing in from all directions. Panic rippled through the team. Flashlights darted wildly. Someone shouted that they needed to get back to base camp. The howls grew louder, closer, and then silence. Complete, suffocating silence.
Can you see us? That's insane.
So nauseous.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it just, I can't shake this gut feeling. Like something is just wrong.
Do we need to turn back?
No, we can keep pushing, but like...
Lungs.
Okay, what was that? That was like a bark. From like that way.
That's not a Kia.
No.
Those are coyotes.
Let's go back for key.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Turn your lights on.
Yeah, my light's on.
Stay close to me.
They're close to us, Chelsea.
Grab something.
Then a single bark-like snap from the shadows. Chelsea gasped, insisting they leave immediately. The outcasts, usually fearless, agreed. They gathered their gear in record time, retreating through the twisted trails as the howls started again. This time much closer. By the time they reached the safety of their vehicles, hearts racing, one thing was clear. Whatever lives in Daggerwoods did not want them there. On camera, Lomar's closing words were grim. It's still here. It doesn't want us coming back. Some people go camping in forests. Others, like Morazov, camp in places far darker. Abandoned buildings, crumbling houses, and locations with reputations steeped in the paranormal. Known across Russia and Eastern Europe for chasing down spirits, his channel had already captured shadow figures, chilling whispers, and unexplained movement. But one night he admitted he might have finally pushed too far. Inside an apartment many locals swore was cursed. The stories attached to it were anything but ordinary. Tenants fleeing after weeks of bizarre occurrences, objects shifting on their own, neighbors claiming to hear growls echoing through the walls at night. No one stayed there for long, and Morazov wanted to know why. Armed with cameras, thermal scanners, and a voice recorder, he stepped inside after dark. Almost immediately, the atmosphere felt wrong. The air was thick, stagnant, colder than the summer night should allow. His thermal camera began showing irregular spikes, sudden drops from normal room temperature down to near freezing, then snapping back up within minutes.
Итак, друзья, я в этой квартире.
The sounds followed, tapping at first like knuckles brushing a wall, then whispers, too soft to understand but unmistakably present. On playback, the voices seemed to react to him, pausing when he paused, murmuring when he spoke. Still, he pressed deeper into the apartment. In the hallway, his camera caught something quick, a shadow darting across the reflection in the glass behind him. He spun, flashlight sweeping, but there was nothing there. His breathing grew heavier. Then the chaos began. In the kitchen, plates crashed violently to the floor, though he hadn't touched a thing. In the living room, the front door slammed shut with a force that rattled the frame. His equipment began to fail. Lights flickering, radios screeching with static, batteries draining faster than usual. It was as if the apartment itself was pushing him out. At one point, he set up a small doll near a temperature sensor, hoping to trigger activity. Within minutes, the device spiked erratically, the doll toppled over, and the front door swung open before slamming again.
На мониторах ничего не видно.
Sweat ran down his face, though the room temperature had dropped to near freezing. The breaking point came when all lights cut out at once. Total blackness. Only his microphone caught the faint growl that followed, a sound low, guttural, and distinctly not human. His voice cracked as he begged whatever was there to stop, but the activity only escalated. Finally, after nearly an hour of relentless disturbances, Morozov decided he'd had enough. He declared on camera that he was leaving, gathered his gear, and backed out into the night. For once, he didn't end with bravado. Instead, he admitted he would never return. This wasn't just residual energy or a few creaking floorboards. It was something intelligent, something that knew he was there, something that didn't want him staying. And in the silence that followed his retreat, one thing was certain. The apartment wasn't empty.